folks, my name is Lindy Patterson. I'm a percussionist and an inventor from Honolulu, Hawaii. And for the past several years, I have been developing a system for mounting percussion instruments onto stands made almost completely out of wood stock. At the core of my system is this basic concept that if you connect vertical things to horizontal things, you can create any kind of stand that you want to serve the needs of percussion instruments. I'm using 3 different systems for mounting instruments, and well, one of them is this V that I mill into the wood, and I drill holes and I use this bolt, and you can see it creates a very positive lock for the horizontal to the vertical thing. Now, this is another system that I use, and it's just 2 opposing pieces, which accomplishes the same thing. It does it in a slightly different way, and both of these systems are needed for the DIY system to account for all of the scenarios that you might encounter. The third system I'm using is just basically you drill a hole in a piece of wood, and that's creating a system that'll create a stand out of that system. And these things could be glued together. This is a way that you can accomplish the same thing as with these systems, but you can't dismantle it. So there's less hardware, cheaper. This is kind of perfect for a DIY scenario. So this is a rack that holds an entire drum set. And as I said, you can see it's basically a collection of vertical and horizontal things. And then there's a third element, and the third element is what I call accessory items. So this is an accessory item here, and it's a holder for a snare. And essentially, it's a horizontal element because it sits horizontal. And so you can see that I have a clamp for it, and it just goes onto the wood stand. Very positive locking system for the snare drum. Right next to the snare drum is the hi-hat stand, and this is a hi-hat stand. This is my own invention, by the way. And this stand, I'm using a bungee cord, and I'm using, this is a wood pedal. And in this case here, the pedal is connected with it's just glued to a piece of wood with a piece of foam that allows for it to move like that. And so the third thing here is these cymbal holders. I'll take this one off here. It's easier. And the cymbal holder is made from hardware that I got at the hardware store. And pretty much all of the hardware I'm using, with a few exceptions, is stuff that you can just buy at a hardware store. You don't have to buy some expensive thing from some company that makes everything in China. Yeah. So this is the assembled kit here that you saw previously. And here I'm using bamboo to hold the cymbals, and basically I'm just doing that because I can, because bamboo is a really amazing material, super light. But you don't have to use bamboo, you can just use dowels. And this is about like your basic broom handle size dowel. And you can see that the hardware in there, it's all just, these are eye bolts, and pretty much everything here is something you can buy at any hardware store. I've accounted for pretty much all the mounting scenarios that happen, and not just for drum sets, but for congas and for djembes as well. And this is a stand I've made for a Conga drum, and you can see that the stand allows for the mounting of other instruments onto it. And this is the only one like that, because no company makes a stand that does that. It doesn't exist. They make stands for Conga drums, but you can't mount other things to them. And I don't know why. That's just stupid to me. You should be able to put other instruments on there. It's just common sense thing. Here's a djembe that I mounted for a player to play in a standing position. Here's a Conga drum, standing position. So either a sitting player or a standing player, I've accounted for all the scenarios. In summation, I'd like to say that there are 4 very compelling reasons why these all wood stands are better than the steel stands. Number one is the weight factor, and I think you can see that these things are clearly lighter in weight than the steel stands. Number two is the cost factor, and the same thing. I think you can see that these things, if mass produced, will cost a lot less than the steel stands. Number three is the noise factor. These things are quieter than the steel stands. And number four is these things are green. My goal for this DIY percussion company is to create customizable turnkey products for percussionists all over the world. Also, I'd like to make kits for people who have access to shop tools and for schools that have shop programs so that kids can make their own drum sets for themselves and for their schools.